What's up, guys? Welcome to episode five, the New Generation podcast. I'm here with Stephen Ehrlich, and today we're going to be talking through a lot of things to do with cryptocurrency. He's currently the CDO of Voyager, and we're going to be talking through a lot of different questions. Stephen, thank you for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to have you. Our first
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Our first question that I want to talk to you about is a personal story from your time in business. I always just love to ask this question first.
Yeah, I've been around. In cryptocurrency, I'm the gray hair in the room because I've been around financial markets for a long time. Look, I have lots of stories, but I think one that'll always stick out to me is something I kind of live by. Is you learn more from things that don't work and the failures that you do from things that succeed. And so one of my last businesses, we were doing really well. Markets changed on us, and we didn't adapt quick enough. So it was a little bit of a struggle. And I think that it's one of the number one things you should ever learn while going through business is, how to deal with adversity, how to make changes, how to pivot, how to kind of make the business different. It's something that when I started Voyager, that sits with me, and we've only been doing it 4 years, but as I like to say is that we cats have 9 lives. We've gone through 4 of ours already, and we got to where we are, and it's because we had to make changes and do things that that you didn't think were possible, and make changes along the way. So to me, that's one of the key things that I've always thought about in business is, as you're maturing as a leader, you want to be able to adapt and make changes quicker than what you would normally do.
And a lot about adversity, like you could see it even recently with the COVID pandemic. It took a lot of people out of what they were comfortable doing with business, and it made them change. And that's something that you could see a lot of companies that just did not change, that didn't adapt, and they kind of they didn't handle the pandemic well. They didn't find ways to work around it, and it ended up costing them a lot of what they've done, and a lot of what they've worked for the past couple of years. So adversity is always a huge thing to think about when it comes to business. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is you see a lot of comparative stuff on the internet today, saying that NFTs and crypto are a lot like the dot-com bubble. What's your opinion on this? What do you think about this?
Well, obviously, being the CEO of a crypto company, I've got some pretty strong opinions on it. Mm-hmm. Look, I think that in any evolution, and this is an evolution of technology. I see a lot of people talk about crypto and NFTs as a revolution. Now it's an evolution. Technology is evolving and getting better every day. And so do I think that there's some aspects of a bubble? Certain things, yeah. I mean, look, if you go back to 2000, 2001, one of the best Super Bowl commercials ever was the sock puppet from pets.com. Everybody kind of, if you don't know it, go look it up on YouTube. Pets.com lasted about a year. And it was all about the bubble and internet, being on the internet. And that company failed, but a lot of companies succeeded. It's the same thing with cryptocurrency and NFTs. There'll be a lot of cryptocurrencies that are going to power the next 25 years of technology, evolving. But there's going to be a couple that don't and will fail. And there'll be projects that fail. And that's just the nature of everything. That's the nature of retail businesses, that a mom and pop store on the corner might do better than a hardware store, might do better than a Home Depot in some areas, and Home Depot might outlast. But things succeed and fail, and a lot of it's based on execution of the plan and making sure that you actually have something that's solid. So do I think it's a bubble? No, I think this is an evolving technology, and there'll be some real winners. There'll be some that are middling, and there'll be some losers that never make it out of their garage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you're going to see it with everything. I don't know if you could consider anything. If people want to call this a bubble, you could consider almost anything a bubble at some point, because to say there's always going to be something that fails within a new trend. There's always going to be people who are left behind. There's always going to be people who didn't catch up or didn't last as long as the other people. But I mean, to say it's a bubble, I mean, it's people, a lot of people are starting to gain interest in it now, 2020, 2021, 2022. But these things have been around for a while. Like the idea behind it and the power behind it is not necessarily a new foundation for it. It's not something that was created, rushed in 2 years to get out to the public. I mean, this has been in the works for years, a lot of time spent on this. This isn't something like you saw with the .com bubble where it kind of built everything up because the internet was new. Everybody was getting in on the .com phase, and then it popped. A lot of people fell, and a lot of people grew like crazy off of it.
Well, I'll give you a stat that I use in a lot of presentations. In 1997, I think the world hit about 120 million users of the internet. And it took about 8 years to get to 1 billion users. We just hit, in January, about a year ago, we hit 130 million holders of cryptocurrency. The estimates are that we're going to hit 1 billion holders of cryptocurrency / Bitcoin in 4.5 years. That's just showing you the adoption here. And that's why it's not a revolution, because revolution eliminates other stuff. This is an evolution. We're using the internet to help guide us and bring us, the cryptocurrencies, whether it's Bitcoin or some of the altcoins. And that's just an interesting stat, because the internet now has 67 to 70% of the world has access and uses the internet. So think about that when cryptocurrency gets into 70% of the world and what it's going to do for commerce and for how we transact business. It's just going to, and do everyday life things. It's just going to change.
It's also much more accessible than the internet was at first, because it's not like the internet, which is most trading platforms for crypto are free. And like, you don't have to, the internet was expensive to get at first. Like it was to get a computer, you had to be incredibly wealthy at the beginning, or not incredibly, but you had to have a good cushion of money at the beginning of the internet to get your hands on a computer. Most people have a phone now. Most people have a computer that they could go on and purchase crypto on, because it's free to use. It's not something that you have to go out and purchase all sorts of new things to do. And it's even like stocks, like a little while ago, you couldn't go and just purchase a stock on your phone. You had to call your broker. It had to go through a whole process. Now you could just send in orders on any trading platform and you'll get a share of a company.
But that's why I call it an evolution, right? Because you're spot on. The internet, most people, 67% of the world have the internet. So why is cryptocurrencies being adopted faster? Is because you're using that backbone of the internet to actually buy, sell, move, cryptocurrencies and stable coins. It's already got the backbone infrastructure to be used. When the internet was built, it was dial-up. So many people probably remember you use the AOL, and you'd hear these beeps and so forth, and would wake up the whole house. And then we got into high speed, and then we got wireless. And now you have this whole wireless infrastructure and 5G that we're building the cryptocurrencies around. So the infrastructure's there. We're just building on top of it. So we're evolving it to a better place rather than mainstream computers. We're being able to utilize what's around us to become more efficient.
It's not like it's coming from the ground up like the internet was. It's coming from a starting point that was already made. You're building off of something. You're not just building straight off the ground.
Completely is why the adoption will come that much faster.
So the markets for cryptocurrencies have been trending down recently at the time of this posting. And I go on Twitter every morning and I just see floods of tweets. Is this the end of cryptocurrency? Is this the end of cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Is this the end of crypto? And I think I know what your answer will be for this question, but I just wanted to hear your full opinion on it and see what you think about it.
Obviously, to me, it's not the end. It's just the beginning again. We're still, to use a sports analogy, I think we're in the top of the second inning of crypto. And with any asset class, there's going to be times of volatility, especially, Bitcoin's 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. that there's going to be times where it's volatile and it's going to have high ups and big drops. And another, comparison that I tend to do on this one is if you look at Apple stock, or actually Amazon stock way back in the early 2000s, it had points where it dropped 90% early on in about the same 10, 12 year range. And that's what's happening in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. You have these drops as adoption happens, as people are using it. So I still think we're early stages of the adoption. It's coming faster, and the opportunity is still now to enter the space because of where it's going and what it's going to change in our everyday lives.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of segues me into something else, which is saying, what's your advice to anyone who wants to get into this? Because I see a lot of people every day, once again, on social media, because I'm on there a lot and I'm scrolling through videos. People are saying, well, this is the beginning of a massive thing, or this is the time to get into it now. This is the time. But then they won't give any idea of how to do that. They'll say, a lot of people, I like to laugh at this. A lot of people put like courses in their bios. A lot of TikTok creators will do this. They'll put courses and sell like $500 courses on on very basic things about cryptocurrency. And a lot of the time, people are spending their money on this for information they could get pretty easily for free.
I think number one is educate, right? Educate yourself. Go to platforms like ours and, download it and look at the information, learn about the coins. Look at some of the trusted parties. It's really hard, you got to do a lot of digging to make sure that you're going to a trusted party and you're getting real information and someone not trying to just sell you a $500 course. There are some really great YouTube guys out there that do a lot of teaching in the space. Three that ring to me right away, and I've been on their podcast is there's in the crypto space is Digital Asset News. Rob runs a great podcast there. Andre Jeikh runs a great YouTube channel too. I can't pronounce his last name, Jekka. And then Daniel Finance runs the finance channel too. And they all really try to educate. They don't charge you. You can subscribe for free. You can watch their videos every day. So I would recommend, reading and watching some of them. I also think that you follow friends, if you have friends that follow other podcasters or YouTubers, that's where you really want to go. And people you trust are going to lead you to trusted people rather than just searching the internet, because you can find YouTubers who have tons of people following them, but are really just scamming you and trying to get you to buy stuff because they have good marketing behind it and they know how to market. But I think you got to go to trusted sources to find your content when it relates to crypto, because I think that's where you're going to get your best knowledge and that's where you're going to learn. And anyone trying to invest, I again say just put a little bit of money if you want to invest and learn from there. Don't go all in. This isn't a poker game where you go all in. You're just you gradually get yourself involved and learn more and learn about the different coins, because as I said earlier about change in the next 25 years, I did a presentation we have a partnership with the Dallas Mavs and Mark Cuban and all those guys, which is kind of neat. And I got to do a whole 30-minute session with Mark. But when I gave a presentation to them, we found the video, another Super Bowl commercial from 1998. That was the Oracle commercial, talked about a technology revolution. A lot of I fast forward 25 years and it's 2022 now. And you look at this video and that commercial and you could pop in some of the protocols that are in existence today, like Avalanche or Algorand or Solana or Polygon. On Polygon's Mark's favorite, is that you could look at that and replace Oracle with one of these about building infrastructure for the future. And that's where it's going. So I think you got to do your research, look at things that from trusted sources, and just dabble and start dabbling and learning more. That's how I would tell anyone to enter the space.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's not a quick process. You're not going to make millions of dollars in your first day. And you see a lot of people while it is one of the best current ways to increase your wealth or to increase your capital, I think there's a lot of people saying that it's like a cheat code almost, that you go and invest in these coins and you'll 100 extra money in the first day. And it's not like that. And you see all the time people saying that this is how they became this how they gained all of their wealth is through crypto. And if they did, that's great for them. But they're setting in a not as attainable goal for people who are just seeing it and want to get into it, because like there are people who will do day trading on Bitcoin and make millions of dollars. But for the average person, that's not going to be what you want to be doing, and that's going to take up a lot of time. And if you want to learn about it, that's a good way. You could do that, and you can learn to make money doing stuff like that. But for the average person who spends not all of their day doing stuff like that, you're not going to make the gains that they are. But it is still an amazing way to gain wealth and to grow the money that you already have.
Look, there are no cheat codes in life. There's no cheat codes. Mm-hmm. Nothing beats hard work, dedication. Nothing beats that. And you could still be the hardest working person around and not make $1 million. It doesn't guarantee you wealth by hard work, but it sure increases your chances by working hard. And when it comes to day trading, been around that forever. One of my last businesses was all in day trading. A lot harder than it looks. You know, so it is still, even in the day trading world, it's a lot of hard work. Nothing beats that. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, you know, hard work. If you're, you know, to get to be the best player in the NBA or an all-star in the NBA, hard work. To get to be, you know, one of the best traders, it's hard work. It's everything about it. To be a good CEO is hard work. And it's all about hard work. And then learning to navigate the crypto markets and trading and investing is work, and it's hard work. And if you want to be really successful, you just got to work at it.
I recently read the How to Lead book with David Rubenstein, and he was giving interviews with a lot of influential people. And he talked about, he had one of those interviews with Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett gave an amazing interview. If you want to read the book, I would fully recommend it. It's a great book. But his interview with Warren Buffett, he talked a lot about hard work and getting to the position he is today. And like people will glamorize anything in business now. And while being a business leader is fun and it is rewarding, it's not the magic. There's no magic pill. There's no automatically I'm going to be at the top of whatever I do. You've got to put in a lot of hard work to get to the position you want to be in. And that's something he really talked about for a while, is that he put in hard work to get to the position he was in. And he is one of the wealthiest people in the world currently. And he's probably the most prolific stock trader of all time.
Yeah. And that's when we started, and you asked, you know, about business. It's hard work, and you're going to fail. Things aren't going to always go your way. So, you know, you learn from those mistakes and you continue. And, you know, sometimes it might be one failure, two failure. It doesn't matter. But don't give up, and you just keep working hard. That's how you start to create, you know, wealth for yourself and your family and those that you support.
That's a bit of a different example, but like in terms of slight failures creating bigger successes. So Costco, I watched a video about their business model a couple of days ago. A lot of people will talk about Costco and talk about their food prices, because their food court is cheap. I love their food court whenever I go, because I can get a slice of pizza for like however much it's cheap. It's really cheap. And the CEO talked about how they lose money on the food court. The food court, in profit wise, is a failure. They do not make money off the food court when they sell items, because the items are so cheap. But people will come in, see the items, eat, and then they'll stay at Costco for longer, which in turn makes them more money, because maybe their food isn't profitable, but all of the hundreds of other items in their store are. It's not like they're losing money on everything. They're losing money on one thing, which promotes them to making money on 15 to 15,000 more things. There's so many. It's a small failure in turn for a big reward. And I think of that image of the guy, and he's like mining. And there's a wall of diamonds. There's two guys mining. There's a wall of diamonds basically, and one guy turns around right in front of it, and the other guy keeps going. And it's like one guy is tired of working and tired of the failure of not finding anything, and the other guy just kind of kept going. And I know it's kind of a cheesy image, but it makes sense when you think about it in a business perspective.
Yeah, look, I think that's, all those things are relevant and, to all the stories. It all comes back to working, failure, trying again, keep hard work. But like I said, hard work doesn't guarantee success. It just increases your odds. It increases your chances.
And then talk about increasing odds. Recently, I know it's good going on with Sony and Microsoft are the big two. Increasing your odds, like once you build up that starter capital, putting your money and diverging it into other things is always a good idea. Diversifying yourself. And I talk about Sony and Microsoft because Sony recently bought Activision, maybe. Was it Sony recently? No, Microsoft recently bought.
No, it was Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft. Yeah, they bought Activision. Yep.
Sony bought Bungie, and both of them had what they already owned. They had Microsoft produces a lot of products. They produce Windows, Xbox. Sony produces a ton of products, and they said, well, they need to diversify what they own because say one day, for whatever reason, Windows just stops. Windows completely dies as a company, and Microsoft loses all its money from Windows. Well, they've still got Xbox making the money. They've still got Activision now making the money. Because if you diverge yourself into different places, if one of your places fails, the rest will pick up the slack. And like, I don't mean this in the terms like don't stretch yourself too thin. If you're one person and you want to try and own 15 businesses at the same time, it's not going to work as well for you unless you have a team. Because if you're splitting yourself out like that, you can't divert enough attention to any of those sectors. But with stuff like investing, that's always a great idea to diversify your portfolio, because having 100% of your money in an altcoin that's at like less than a cent right now, and having everything you've saved for the past years in that, it's what if it crashes? Like, what if it goes down for you? That's part of the reason why I like safer, like what I consider safer coins, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, things that in the long run I know will succeed. And that's why like stocks like Apple, stocks that in the long run will succeed. And that's stuff that you want to have in your portfolio. And yes, you can buy those altcoins that will make you a lot of money if they go up. But to keep yourself, you got to spread yourself out in terms of what you own, in terms of what you invest in terms of what you buy.
Yeah, we look at it in, crypto is a diversification play. It's a part of your portfolio, part of everything, part stocks, part bonds, maybe some treasuries, although they're low yielding these days, some cash, and then some crypto. And how you then diversify your crypto is some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some dollar stable coin, because you can earn up to a 9% yield on that. And with no volatility, because digital dollar, a USDC dollar held with us, you can earn 9% a year on it, and there's no volatility to that. It's always worth $1. And then, some altcoins, whether it is an Avalanche or a Solana or a Polygon or a Voyager token, doesn't matter. Have some exposure to it, because, it's just a classic diversification play, being some of your portfolio, some of your, net worth into crypto, and then diversifying within crypto. So you're seeing all the different aspects, just like you do in stocks. You're not all going to go into high growth, although it really, into growth or into blue chips or so forth. And today there is a flight to blue chips, in a little bit of a unstable economy with rising inflation, rising interest rates. There's absolutely a flight to safety and security, and you're seeing a lot of blue chips get a lot more dollars. But then when you have a day where, a company like PayPal is down 25% that you might have thought was somewhat of a blue chip, it changes your thinking on things. So, it's an interesting market, but I think diversification helps you get through ups and downs in the marketplace.
And keeping on that subject, I mean, you got to make sure you're diversifying correctly as well, because there's people on, once again, people online that I've seen whose portfolio they post. I saw one earlier today. I think I saved it on my TikTok page. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't remember where it came from, but there was one that was like, how to diversify your portfolio, and it was something like, it was like 2% cash, and then like 65% Dogecoin, I think it was, out of all your earnings, and then 25% Bitcoin, and like some other parts of the portfolio. But I mean, Dogecoin is, if you want to make that investment, let's go for it. But to say 65% of all the money that you make is going to go into Dogecoin is just a little bit teetering on overboard for me.
Yeah, that's the diversification play. And I think there are level 1 tokens and protocols. There's level 2s. There's alternative currencies from Bitcoin, which Doge and Shiba would be. Those things, and you got to diversify across all those. And I think it's just a matter of doing, back to educate, research, do all that. I think that's how you get yourself in a better spot with a diversified portfolio of cryptos.
And yeah, it's at the end of the day, it comes down to education, and so much education is free nowadays. Like, this is not me saying don't go to college, but to say education is that, like, you can pay, don't have to pay for almost you don't have to pay for a lot of things you could learn online right now. Like, I took 2 MOOCs a couple weeks ago where I took a college level class. I'm still in them. I'm taking a college level class for completely free, taught by college professors, that's just posted online. And I've learned, I think I'm taking one on technical analysis right now. My two that I'm taking are technical analysis and how to be a more successful entrepreneur. And it's basically Entrepreneur 101. And it was completely free. I didn't pay a dime for it. And both of these things have helped me become better at what I hope to do in the future. And if I can read, and if I can take in all of the knowledge that I can find online, it'll be worth much more than what I can pay for online, because there's so much, it's free, that you can do to better yourself as a businessman, to better yourself as an entrepreneur, to better yourself as a broker, as a trader. You could do everything for free that a lot of people are asking you to pay for. And that, once again, not saying drop out of school, don't go to college. Like, I highly recommend college, but as someone who's not in that boat yet.
Different paths. I think education and reading, and I spend pretty much the first hour of every day when I wake up in reading and seeing what's going on in the industry, in financial technology, in financial services, and just trying to understand what's happening across the crypto, as I said, crypto, the fintech, the financial services sectors. But I think education and reading, you can learn a lot. There's a lot of great stuff out there these days.
And it's almost a surplus all time. Like, there's so much information out there that you can find that, like, I found whenever I have an issue, whenever most people have issues, the first thing they do is look online. And looking online, because you'll find an answer almost 100% of the time. My computer messed up a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't get onto my computer. I looked up on my phone how to get out of this startup loop, and it gave me a tutorial. I got out of it. I looked up something a few days ago, like how to make this, how to cook this. I got an answer. And everything that you want to know has an answer And most of the time it can be found online for completely free.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So,
And it's almost shocking at this point what you can do with the internet. And there's like, just most people have it at their fingertips. And I know it's been said a ton, but if you can utilize the internet to the best of your ability to learn everything you can, you will be more successful than someone, a lot more successful than someone who just kind of goes with what they think could work. If you spend the time putting in time to get educated about the subjects that you want to be better at, you will in turn be better than someone who just kind of had a knack for it.
nope, completely agree. Completely agree.
Mm-hmm. And well, having a knack for it is good. Like there's people who have entrepreneurial spirit, people who have people who are naturally gifted at math. If you don't work a day in your life though at those things, you're not going to be better than the people who work harder than you.
That always comes down, I mean, there's always someone working harder than you. So you want to try to outwork everyone else, and you might not even know who that everyone else is. So you just got to keep that that mindset, and that's what really helps drive businesses. There's always, it doesn't matter if it's business or sports or whatever. There's the mindset that you have to outwork your competition, because nothing in business is easy, nothing in life's easy, nothing in sports. So continue down that path of just hard work every day. Wake up every day, try to give it your best every day, work hard every day, and if those who work, good things will come. No guarantees, but good things should come.
And I've got a coach who says this every day, and it's during practice, and we'll be running sprints or something, and he'll come up to all of us, and we're all standing there, hands on our hips, waiting, or hands on our knees, waiting for the next run, waiting for him to call the next sprint. And he's saying, well, he goes to someone and says, hey, that kid from wherever, do you think he's running right now? That kid that beat you from wherever, do you think he's running sprints right now? Do you think he's working out right now? Do you think you're working harder than he is? Do you think you're doing better than he is do you think you're getting better than he is?
Got to outwork the competition all the time. It's part of business, part of maturity is outworking competition all the time, because you don't get better by standing still. You don't get better by doing nothing. You get better. You get better as a person. You get better as a business leader, as an athlete. Doesn't matter. You got it. You work at it. And common theme across the board.
And there will be competition. 95% of the time when you're doing something, there will be some sort of competition. And I know everything's not a competition. There's a lot of things that are just for fun or just to enjoy yourself. And that's great. Like, I'm not saying anything against that, but a lot of things that you will try to do in life will be a competition. Are you the better job candidate than this person? Are you the better candidate for this university? Why should they invest in you instead of this other company? Why are you different? Why are you better? That's one of the questions that you have to ask yourself in terms of business. And that kind of circles back to the first thing we talked about, was why is my company, why is my team different than this company, this team, this person? Why is that? What makes us better? What makes us different?
Yeah, self-reflection about things is very helpful. What you do well, what you don't do well as a person, as a company. How can we as a company get better? You have to be able to critically look at yourself as part of the company. Like, how can I help the company do better? What can my company do better? And I think that's when you start to really see successful companies, is when they can really look at themselves and not just see a rosy picture all the time. I believe that when customers tell us what we do wrong, we learn a heck of a lot more than the pats on the back, because pats on the back are great. It's great for the self-esteem. It's great for the ego. But, true companies are built in times of crisis, times of when things aren't going well, and times of self-reflection and how you can be better. That's how true companies are actually built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great point to finish on. If you've got anything else you'd like to talk about.
No, I think that's, I think to anyone who's watching and listening, I think it would be, I recommend learning more about crypto. It is the future. Come to my app, download it, play with it. If you're under 18, I can't open an account yet, but soon. But you still can play with it and look around the app and get education on it. But I think really take time, learn about crypto, because as much as people say it's a bubble, it's going to go down. It doesn't matter. It's technology. It's infrastructure. The future. I heard a really smart person said at a conference I was at 2 weeks ago, when asked about, we were on a panel and she works for A16Z, which is a really, really powerful venture fund. And she said the risk isn't about regulatory risk or this or any, or the risk of coins going down, whatever. The risk is not participating and learning about this, because this is going to change the world over the next 2 decades. So
Exactly.
spend the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed having you. It was a pleasure. I hope people who were listening got a lot out of this conversation and got a lot out of what we talked about in this episode. Once again, as you just said, I also believe that crypto is going to be the future of a lot of the economy. And I think that's something that people should really look into. And if you are over 18, go check out Voyager and invest in crypto through Voyager.